Jewelry brand owners, if you run ads in the past, but they are expensive and they didn't convert into sales, past several years, I've been able to take jewelry brands from $30,000 in sales to around $60,000 in sales, doubling their sales collected in just a couple of months by just using Facebook ads to generate those sales. And in this video, I'm going to talk about every single KPI that you have to track so that you can see what is going wrong in your Facebook ads. Where are people dropping off? I'm going to be talking about that in this video. I took a screenshot of the KPI board, and I just wanted to go step by step in a very simple way, which are the least amount of KPIs that you need to actually tracking. I'm going to add some, I'm going to take out some, but essentially this is what you want to be tracking when you're running Facebook ads. So number one is cost per impressions. This is just to see if you're paying too much to reach potential customers. It's a very basic KPI. And some of the reasons that you would have a high CPM is either your audience is too small if you're targeting local markets, and targeting local markets is not the problem. But if you target local markets and if you have too much targeting in your ad sets, too much specificity, type of person, type of interest, type of behavior, all of these sort of stuff, if you just add demographics to it, income to it, then you will have too small of an audience and too poor targeting, right? Meta doesn't work that way anymore. Meta likes the targeting to be done by the photos, the carousels, the videos, the hooks, those sort of things. Meta likes that to be the targeting, not the media buying anymore. So a lot of media buyers will say, if you don't have a good CPM, if you're paying too much money for the CPM, then it's probably because there's high competition. But in all truthness, I've been in the ads managers in several industries that are way more saturated than the jewelry brand industry, and they have spectacular CPMs. So it's not really true that if you're paying too much for the CPA is because of high competition. It's probably because you're targeting too narrow and too many targeting features in the ad set. Second KPI that needs to be tracked is the click-through rate, or the link click-through rate. So this just means, are people seeing the ad but aren't interested enough to click it? If you have a poor CTA, poor CTAs are normally 1.5% under. That's a poor CTA, or a click-through rate. So the reasons why might be a very weak hook. A hook in a jewelry ad for jewelry ad would not really be something normally that you hear for info products like jewelry brand owners. Like I just said, jewelry brand owners. If you're struggling to get customers, then right? It wouldn't be a hook like that. There are several different ways you can hook for a jewelry brand. One is a visual hook. Two is the headline hook. So the headline hook is inside the creative, and that could be a hook. So your hook is poor if you have a very bad CTA. Another reason, this is not very common, but another reason is that you're seeing your audience is wrong. You have the wrong audience looking at your offer. So you could have, I just made a video about that, about the 4 stages or 5 stages of awareness. I just made 4 because it's just relevant for jewelry brands. The 4 stages of awareness. So you have the unaware, you have the problem aware, you have the solution aware, and you have the product aware, or most, right? Product aware. And then you have a most aware. But I didn't cover the most aware. The thing about this is that if your ad is made for product aware, and it has an offer on it, 50% off, 2 for 1, whatever, then once Meta shows that same ad to all the warm audience, it will go straight to colder audiences, and then colder audiences, and then colder audiences, and it would stop converting. So your same ad that you're spending money on will go to colder and colder audiences and convert less and less. So you will have a lower click-through rate if the audience that are seeing your ad is not the audience that you want seeing your ad. So solutions are just better hooks. Just make better hooks. If you have a real ad, then you can make a verbal hook, a sound hook, a visual hook. There are an enormous amount of ways you can make better hooks, and you have to improve your offer. In this ad account, it says cost per result, but it's the actual thing is like cost per lead. Since we are tracking leads, it's the same thing. So the cost per lead is very important because you have to figure out if you're paying too much to generate leads. The reasons for if you would have a high cost per lead is if you're sending them to a landing page, then that landing page is not congruent, or it's not easy to get, or it's not easy for the lead to give you their contact info. It has to be very easy for the lead to give you the contact info. Since we are selling broad market, or since most of us are selling since most jewelry brands are selling broad market, then you don't want to have many qualifiers. If you're selling to women, obviously, then right, mostly women are just going to be seeing your ads, first of all, because of the targeting of your creative. However, it still has to be congruent. It still has to be easy for the leads, for the people on Facebook to become leads, give you their contact info. The offer has to be very congruent. Just copy the same headline that you have in the ads for your landing page if you're having a landing page. If you have an instant forms, then your cost per lead shouldn't be that high. It's just that you also have to copy the same headline from your ads to your instant forms. Facebook just gives you the form for the leads to give you the contact info. You don't have to create your own landing page. So that is if you have a high cost per lead. Let's just say you do have a landing page and you want to track your own data, your own KPIs, and you have to keep on going. So these are all the on-platform KPIs. You could still track some of the KPIs that I'm going to talk about on the platform, but if you want to do it natively, this is how you do it. Leads or appointment percentage. Percentage of leads who book an appointment. You just say booking rate. But this is essentially if leads aren't turning into real booked appointments in your store, in your shop, then you have to be tracking this. Some of the reasons why leads wouldn't be booking appointments after they become leads, they already saw your ad, they already gave you their contact info, they said, yes, I want the product, and then no one shows up, is because some of the reasons are low quality leads. But in my personal experience, it just has been weak follow-up. So follow-up just means speed to contact, basically. How fast are you messaging these leads after they become leads? That's it. So I've been an appointment setter for a year, and speed to contact was one thing, but volume or times of contact has been very important too. So let's say a lot of jewelry brands say, oh, they didn't answer me the first time, they don't want my jewelry. It's like you have to message them 20 times, 30 times. It really is like this. So you will say in your head, you will say, I'm spamming them, right? In your head, you will say they don't want it and I don't want to bother them. In your head, you will go, this is unethical. In your head, your head will just take you all the places possible. But the reality of it is that if you're paying for these leads, you want to be contacting them very quickly, many times. And if you can, which with a lead form, you can, because you will getting their phone number, which if you get their phone number, you can message them on WhatsApp, SMS them, and call them. 3 different ways. I was in a setting team that was very aggressive at one point in time. And what we did was the 10 by 10 by 10 rule. So 10 by 10 rule is that we contacted them 10 times a day in 10 different channels for 10 days straight. Right? No stop. So we contacted them 10 times. That's 100 messages, because it's 10 times by 10 different channels. It was email, it was SMS, it was Instagram DMs, it was sending them a friend request on Facebook, on Messenger, and then sending them a message just through Messenger without, even if they didn't say yes to the friend request, we still send a message through Messenger, right? We SMS them, we WhatsApp them, we called them, we double dialed, we did everything, right? We did everything to get a hold of them. It was the 10 by 10 by 10 rule, right? It was pretty brutal, but it was very, very effective. This was a pure ads agency. They didn't have one post on organic content in any platform. They just went straight into Facebook ads. That's it. They were running Facebook ads and they were extremely aggressive in setting appointments for the customers. I was in that appointment setting team and it was very aggressive. I wasn't there for a long time because I got another job, but I remember that it was very aggressive and it worked very well, because after the second day that you message them literally 200 times, then normally they answered you or they blocked you, which is fine because they either buy from you or they block you, which is fine. So this is another KPI, off-channel KPI that you can, or off-platform KPI that you can measure. Very good for measuring. There are entire companies that just do this. So, and then obviously you will have close rate, or you can also have after close rate, you can have actually before close rate, you'll have CAC, or actually after close rate, you will have a CAC, which is just cost of customer acquisition cost, or cost of acquiring a customer, customer acquisition cost. So the customer acquisition cost just tells you how much did all of this process cost you for them to become a customer, a paying customer, right? That's it. That's what we want to track. Now, customer acquisition cost is pretty important, but it's not as important as AOV. We got the average order value is way more important. I'll just write AOV, right? The average order value is way more important than CAC, right? CAC is very important, but AOV is way more important than CAC, because AOV you're able to increase. So I've seen that if you're just able to sell more stuff to your already existing customer, just make sure your CAC is like 1/3 of that, and that's it. Everything good. If you're obsessing over CAC, which most media buyers have to do, but if you're a jewelry brand owner and you're obsessing over CAC, then I'd rather it's more beneficial if you obsess over AOV. Have an upsell, have a cross-sell, then have a downsell plus cross-sell, right? And then have referrals baked into your sales process. And that's it. Yeah. Just bump up your AOV. Just bump it up. And those are the targets those are the KPIs that you need to be measuring. Essentially, the reason why we are measuring all of these KPIs and all of these things are because we need to find out. So here is strangers and this is customers. So this is money. And essentially we need to find out if there are holes in our funnel, that all the water that we are pouring in, all the money. Now this is money. This is advertising money. This is the ad spend. All the ad spend that we are pouring into this funnel to be able to come out with more money, right? Times 100. We need to figure out the holes in our funnel. So if we are pouring all of this money in our funnel, where is the money leaking? And are the impressions not good? And all of the money is leaking out through impressions because our targeting is just dog shit? Or is it the click-through rate? It could be the click-through rate. No one is clicking our ad because the offer is terrible. Or could it be the cost per lead, because there's so much friction between them clicking and them actually giving you their contact info because you have 50 different questions, or the offer in the contact form is not the same offer as the ad. That could be. Or do we have a high CAC? Do you have an enormous CAC? This is the only reason why we're tracking all of these metrics, is just to see where the holes are, right? Now, if we can just glue those holes shut, if we can target better, then this leak will not exist. If our offer is good, if our offer isn't terrible, if our offer is good, then we can glue this hole shut. If we remove all friction for them becoming a lead, we can glue this shut. If all of these are good and the appointment setting rate or the booking rate is pretty good, then we can glue this shut. Like, we just have to fix the problems in our funnel, in our advertising. Essentially, that's what it is. So if you're a jewelry brand owner and you want to fix all of these sort of problems in your funnel to be able to make more profit and actually 2x your sales revenue, 3x your sales revenue in a matter of months, then click the link in the description of this video and I'll show you click by click exactly how to do that for your own jewelry brand.